Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.
Hello, welcome back to part two. It's all been a bit of a rush this week, so we haven't had a chance to do the goals I view question that we put out to Twitter. We've got more than enough to talk about, sort of about us this week. I will find a few tweets as we go along of your opinions, but
should we talk about the players leaving first?
Yeah, we'll go with that first. Interesting one. Chris, Stephen Wern.
What did you pick on me for, Stephen Wern?
I did notice on the video the other week that you said, "Oh, it was unfortunately he almost had a hat trick." God, that was like you willing got to score.
Don't go lining me
that
up
was
for being a Wern
noted,
hater.
Chris.
It's like those kids with agendas on social media where for their own teams.
Dom's accused me before of when I don't like players, I can't see any good in them. He did that last week, but no.
Accusing is very strong. Thank you very much.
That was in a different context, mind you. But no, I mean, I think it's just a player who frustrates me, like a lot of them. We just talked about Evans in the first part, and I think Wern's another one. He gets up the pitch well with the ball, he moves the ball, but he doesn't have enough pace. He doesn't get around the outside of people. I'd like to maybe see him on the right. Of course, he's played on the left the whole time. Whether he can get around the outside and then kind of whip a ball in like that, but it's not where. But I mean, he's a player who clearly has ability.
He's been in much as he thought he
would
be, Chris, unfortunately.
Does he have Football League ability? Because he's gone back to Grimsby sounds like of his own choice. It sounds like we were looking to keep him, but he's opted to go back and try and fight for his place.
He's one of those typical players for me that goes on the wing because they're not strong enough in the centre, but they'd like to be in the centre, really. He wants to be the playmaker in the middle, but he's not quite good enough for that.
Yeah, I just think he's a sort of player who want to do well again. Yeah.
His touches are good. He's skillful. I mean, he looks like he's going to create something, but it hasn't really happened.
So he's another. There's so many footballers, aren't there, down the years that you've seen, if they just had a bit of pace. If he had a few yards of pace, you could get around the outside of people, and either cut in or get a ball, get across into the box. But yeah, I mean,
if he had both, he'd be in the League One, wouldn't he? If he was a proper speedster and had skill, he wouldn't come near us.
Yeah.
So
I think you can. It won't be hard to get players like him, will it? Replacing him won't be difficult in that sense. But hopefully, trying to get somebody better. So yeah, it's not one that you're hugely disappointed to lose.
He's a bit bad though. Nothing against him. He's worked hard for his money. But...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So two things as well before we carry on as well. Two shout outs. Torquay women, excellent result. Jamie Reid, incredible, scoring at Villa Park. There's two things I must remember before we carry on.
He never took a penalty that confidently for us. He always missed
I was going to say. Couldn't believe it. I was supposed to penalty, but nah, that's two things. Well done, ladies, as well. But yeah, no, Stephen Wern. Yeah, no. Again,
he's a nice player, and he's sort of guy who becomes a bit of a fan's favourite. But he just
he works hard. It didn't quite work for him. He didn't quite have as Chris said, have the moments where you think, he's going to get down and find his man, find Jarvis, find Goodwin in the box. Which leads us on to our second one. God, I'm getting good at this. Goodwin. Interesting. Do you know what? It was only just before we come on here, I realised it was a permanent deal.
2.5 year deal to Cheltenham.
I thought originally when we saw these rumours a couple of days ago it was going to be a loan. But that's a big thing. I've been following his progress for Stoke City podcast. I've been reporting like 1 minute clips. And, I'm quite surprised that Stoke's let him go. It's quite an interesting one.
He must have asked his agent to put out feelers, I guess, because Stoke weren't going to give him any more deals or whatever.
No, I read that he was being released.
Good opportunity for him.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because again, hopefully I'm wrong, but what I would say is I think, is he a League One player now?
Not yet. I'll say he's National League standard striker, possibly.
It'd be interesting. I hope he's been a great. Was it 8 goals in 20 games? I think. And of course, for a lone player, he's come in. He's like I put in the article again. He's had a lot of trust from the manager. He's bought into everything you're doing. His reaction to goals and obviously the goal against Derby, and he's clearly bought into everything what we've been trying to do. And fair play. You can't. He's the sort of player he leaves with your best wishes, and you hope. We'll all be keeping an eye out, hoping you see Goodwin on the score sheet when you're looking at the scores, don't you, every game. But it's a blow for us because he scored goals, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to name the top 5 Torquay players in this season, I mean, it wouldn't be a huge decision, but he'd be in them, wouldn't he? He's been playing, he'd played more games than any other player, I think, just about. And Yeah, he showed right from the start, right in pre-season. He looked like he was up for it, holding the ball up. He's got an eye for a goal as well. He can whack one in the bottom hand corner, which is a nice skill to have, isn't it? And I think Cheltenham have probably seen that and thought, right, he's worth taking a punt on.
And he's a good age, isn't he? If you're going to give someone a 2.5-year deal to, give somebody, a chance to grow, he's, what is he, 19? He's a good age, isn't he, to invest in? So, it won't be a hugely expensive deal for them, you wouldn't have thought. So it's a great chance
for him to progress, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, good luck to him. It's a shame for us, but good luck to him. Of course, we didn't get to see the new forward we've got at the weekend, James Kroll. He never got on in the circumstance of the game, as Gary said. But again, having seen him in the warm-up and a half-time, now he looks a good size. So that's what we need a bit of. We probably need another forward, especially if Andrew goes. But he looks
not
a good
look, is it, to lose your top scorer when you're 23rd in the league? But
what can you do when you don't have him for the rest of the season?
Yeah, but they're not yours, are they?
The
thing with loan players, they're not. It's
that's the tightrope we walk on with these.
Yeah, they're not yours. So yeah, absolutely. No, good luck to him.
And I think Jarvis and Goodwin hadn't worked as a partnership.
No, you are right.
You should have mentioned it.
Because it hasn't worked, it does make me feel slightly better about.
I know what you mean. I know when I was sat there, people going, "Oh, it'd be so much better if it was Goodwin." I was like, "Look, Goodwin's a class player, but it's just Dom's voice coming there." But he's right. Like we require them to be strikers that make everything and chances and goals for themselves. And Jarvis is an old-fashioned target man. Basically, he works hard. Goodwin works hard, but they didn't do that. They needed to play in a one. Like Jarvis and Goodwin are very good players at this level, but I think they need to play on that up front of their own with a couple of players.
And I think in the short term,
you need to treat Jarvis a bit like Danny, right? I think get players around him, get the ball up to him early, and then he can win free kicks, get the passes off. As we thought it was going to work at the start of the season, it's never quite clicked.
I think Sam's right actually when he said that that having Aguiar just in behind with Evans buzzing around as well. I think there might be a bit of mileage of that certainly in the short term.
Yeah.
Whilst the squad's clearly going through a bit of a reshape and a redevelopment, isn't it? With whether it be with the change to the structure in the team and also the players that are available. So whilst that's kind of going on over the next few weeks, I think that could be the way forward. As I said, Aguiar looks like he has ability.
Where's the gaps to attack for us? We can't just put two strikers right up against their defence because they find it too easily. So it's those gaps you've got to try and exploit. Aguiar will fancy a shot, won't he? I think he scored a few for Chippenham, was it last season? So I do fancy him to get
got a goal in him.
Yeah. So if we can get him going, he doesn't look the strongest, but he did get involved.
Got taken out a few times. He's not afraid to take players on.
Yeah, that's it.
He got taken out in 20 seconds, didn't he?
He had a bit of swagger about him and a nice haircut, so it looks like he could do something.
He did.
Yeah, he's also
But smashing hair up front with him and Jarvis, incredible.
Yeah, no, good point. And then obviously it's nice that Dylan De Silva, just his pace to change things. Just having good player to bring on. Obviously, we need him starting. I think
it's interesting, Sam. You mentioned that. I do wonder if at times he's better off the bench.
My dad said that when we were watching it, and I agree. But then also we haven't got a good enough team for him not to start.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And of course, when you're playing a 3-5-2, is he a wing back for 90 minutes? Probably not. I'd argue Crow isn't either. But that's a different conversation, probably. But again, if you look back to the game against Chippenham in the trophy, he came on at half time and he didn't quite change the game. But they couldn't deal with him when he came on. So
Crow was okay. Again, Crow was not too bad.
Just defensively, isn't it? There
was that moment where the guy
okay.
He's
a winger, isn't he? He's more of a winger. I would say
he just doesn't make good decisions, Sam. When you should drop back, he goes straight in. You should go straight in. He drops back. He makes the wrong decisions at the wrong time.
At the Southern Premier or National League South, and then it'll be right.
That moment was extraordinary because right in front of where I was, and he did really well. He kind of got in front of Asawa and he's done really well. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of stopped, kind of looked at him.
See it now,
and he was gone. Yeah, he was kind of. He was quick as fair. He kind of looked up and he'd gone, and he got round the outside of Don, and all of a sudden, within the blink of an eye, you're like, oh God! And all of a sudden, they're kind of piling towards the goal.
And a better team scores that, and then that's all Crow's disaster again. So
just kick him or something, do something. Just stand
there
looking
at him. When he almost cost us. But it's true, he's always got one or two key mistakes in him, so they have to go.
Yeah. He's also not strong enough, Sam. If he battles a 50-50, the ball always ends up with the other player. Again,
but what options do we have right now? He has to be De Silva.
He's got too many flaws in his defensive instincts, and he's not built to defend.
I'm not impressed by Ben Wyatt. He doesn't offer in a 3-4-2. He doesn't offer enough going forward.
Doesn't do anything wrong though, does he?
He's a better all-round defensive player.
He's okay. I liked him more. I think before his injury, he's in better form than he was now. But maybe
it's interesting they keep taking him off as well, because it's not like he had a muscle injury or he's been out for 6 months. It's a broken bone. Yet. Well, it's weird because it's not, because broken bones generally you don't lose that much fitness because you can do a lot of things in a way that you can't with muscular injuries. But it's weird that costs 70 minutes and they think he's had it. It's strange.
I think we need a reserve team to get those sort of players fit. We just haven't got any matches from
anyone know about Martin?
No.
Out to the end of February, I heard.
I mean, again, and it's the classic one. I mean, that was
bad injuries, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course, it's the classic one where it was a ligament injury. I think Martin, wasn't it? And that Wyatt's happened the week after. I think he's back significantly quicker. His broken bones, you're much usually better off doing them than you are ligament injuries because they tend to be more complex to recover.
Sure, as if Martin doesn't come back to it in February, he's got to get ready for games. He can't just come straight back in and start playing properly. So
this is the thing, isn't it?
Are we going to see much in this season, isn't it?
And it's like Gary said the week before, isn't it? The problem is you're kind of, given the size of the squad and the amount of injuries we've had, you're trying to get players fit in National League matches, and you need a reserve side, you need some game time, but you can train all you like, but the intensity of a first team game is just different, isn't it?
My worry is the midfield again for the coming games, because I want Hall and Lapsley fit, don't we? And I do wonder if he'll rest them for Saturday's game, because we've got a Tuesday match coming up, haven't we?
Ace are absolutely funny. I said that to my dad as we were walking away, because of course, if you think about back to that period of games where we had kind of midweek games, was it 5 weeks in a row, midweeks? And Hall and Lapsley just kept playing and kept playing and kept playing, and it's cost us. So Saturday's a game, again, it's the next game, so you need to try and win it. But if you've got Hanson, you've got potentially McGavin, you've got Evans, you've got Aguiar, you've got options. I think you would certainly leave Hall out, or they play half a game.
Lapsley out as well.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
They're key men for Tuesday's game, and if they play, they could knacker themselves out again. That's the trouble.
Thinking, it's 2 midweeks in a row: Bromley, then Boreham Wood, and then Woking on the Tuesday after. So you really need them playing those 3 games.
We're not winning games without those 2 midfield at the moment, are we? That's really key.
No, and actually McGavin and Hanson started. I think I'm right. So started in the middle against Chippenham, and it was a disaster in the first half an hour until De Silva came on and Hanson got taken off, and they tightened up in the second half. It didn't go well in that.
It comes down to it. We won on Saturday because the proper men did the trick for us, didn't they? Moxie, Hall, Lapsley, the experienced pros brought it forward, didn't they?
And Donlan was good again. Donlan's younger than I thought as well.
Donlan's really good.
He's very old at all.
Really good.
He looks like a 35-year-old, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he?
He's
not. He's 24, 5. I think I looked. He's not that old at all.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's the most improved player.
But he stayed fit. Is the point? He couldn't stay fit in the first couple of months, could he?
No.
Also, Jarvis has got that mentality as well. That sort of, I'm up for the fight.
Jarvis is, he started at Basingstoke, didn't he? And he got that move at 18. He's been up, he's been down a bit. So, I'm a big fan of Jarvis.
His confidence isn't as fragile as I thought. I thought he'd be a real difficult guy to try and get in form. But generally, even when he's not been great form, he still shows
that Yeovil game. That Yeovil game at home, nothing went for him, but he did not start all game. So,
he did.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it early on in the Halifax game when we had that penalty given and then wasn't. Don't tell me it's going to be one of those days.
Was that Jarvis that was took down?
It was Jarvis was taken down. Yeah, and you thought, I'd seen. Sorry,
was that Evans's ball? I think it was a move of Evans and
kind of down the side, and then he kind of checked back in. I mean, the bloke kicked him, but he must have been tight. I've not watched it back, but it must have been tight because it wasn't one where I thought, "Oh, is he offside?" I didn't consider it until the flag had gone up.
My dad didn't. He was up celebrating. I was like, no flag. Oh.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. And the thing is, as well, another thing about Goodwin, if Goodwin was unsettled and he didn't, because there was little rumours, there was on the forum a couple of weeks ago, weren't there? And I don't know if it by accident, but his account did like a tweet that was criticising Gary Johnson's team talks. Then the other week it was picked up. Now, the thing is, we do want players that want to be here. I'm not saying that Goodwin are bad, I'm not saying that at all. But sometimes when you think, these players are leaving, it just gives us that chance to get fresh few players in that, might not see all the flaws out. You know what I mean? This kind of, it's not always the worst thing, is what I'm saying. When I saw a couple of players coming in, it gives a bit of excitement again. You always want that kind of new attitude, things haven't worked. We've got one loan slot free now. Because we've got 4, I'm pretty sure. So, where would you want it? I would say centre back. or someone who could play right back, right wing back. I'd say centre back though. Still,
I think we need another forward, but I think it's far more pressing that
if you could get
bring
one
a
more
centre back. Yeah, Moxie gets injured, and there's
or
trouble,
a
isn't there?
holding midfielder, can't have someone who wins the ball all the time, just in case absolute hall goes for it.
Yeah.
You'd take three, wouldn't you? Really, you'd take one defender, one.
Yeah, we need a defender, midfielder, we know the left winger.
Absolutely, yeah. Just somebody with a bit of midfield as well. Something my dad talks about a lot. Just somebody who can you're not quite, by the phrase my dad uses, run around kicking people. I think it means literally, but just somebody with a bit of physicality who can win the ball, be strong, pop the ball off to people who are going to do a bit more creative things.
Probably take us from A to B as well, Chris. Gets up the field quicker.
And actually, quite often these games where we've been struggling, we've not. If you look how we lost the midfield against Yeovil at home, but we dominated the midfield with Asa and Laps on Saturday. And that again, if you can win that central area of the pitch, it does give you so much more, abilities to to take the game forward.
You'd also perhaps have a right wing back, wouldn't you, if you had your shopping list?
Yeah, honestly,
it's not providing enough, is he?
Again, this lad who allegedly is on trial can play both apparently. So whether that might be,
I don't know anything about that, so that's good.
Yeah, I won't name him in case we get sued, but I've seen it on social media today. It might be complete rubbish, who knows? But there seems to be, there's a bit of activity around it, which is good.
Nice.
A centre back, I think you have to get one in. So can't be counting on Omar to play every game and be the bee's knees, can we? I mean,
we have to replace Ellis.
We have to replace
Ellis.
If you think Ellis and Ness have gone and we've not replaced them, kind of numerically, have we? So
we never really got to see that through. We never got to see a 3-5-2 of Moxie, Ellis, and Donnan. Actually, that would have been really solid. But because we had to stick Moxie left back. And I think Moxie's a centre back now. No disrespect, I think he's more of a centre back.
He doesn't get forward enough, does he? No. Not because he's not unfit, especially, but he's got to kind of withhold himself to be able to do what he can do at the back, doesn't he? But so
it's again, it's a season in many ways. You get your team right in certain areas, and then other areas go wrong, don't you? It's never like we're going to play the same team for the rest of the season.
When you're in mid-table or you're actually near the top, you think, oh, there's confidence around the place. When you're at the bottom, it's such a nightmare.
But I think Saturday will be a good next game because it's a game we should win. It's at home.
Win 2 in a row.
It'll be a bit. Exactly, it'll be a bit of an event. I don't know how many they'll bring, but they'll bring a good amount. They're opening the away terrace, so obviously expecting a few. So it's a good opportunity for a cup tie feel and to build on winning a league game, and then hopefully win that, and then go build into the next home game again, another home game in the league again, and hopefully we can kind of really start to get a bit of momentum. And obviously, then we've got a couple of tough away games ahead of the Maidstone game, but you look at the sides in this league and you think there isn't any reason why we can't give these games. Go.
It'll be a good game. I just don't think we want to expend too much energy, do we? You don't want it to be a 90-minute. We don't want to be rushing around 90 minutes and knacker players out. We got to keep some freshness back for Tuesday. So that's what it's all about. FA Trophy,
FA Cup money as well.
FA Trophy, nice to win the game, but it's all about the league, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation before, Dom. I don't disregard any competition apart from the Standard Shield, which is a total waste of time. Other than that, every competition is the next game. When you're in our position,
if we weren't playing Tuesday, then you might say play all the strongest team. But
you need to win the next game. We need some momentum. We need some wins to get the belief and get the momentum. And I think Saturday's the next chance, isn't it? And then obviously, if you can then win 2 in a row, you then go into another home game, and who knows where a bit of momentum and a bit of belief can take you.
I mean, we've got Boreham and Woking around the corner, haven't we? So I think the Boreham match, I don't know if it's a must-win, but...
Have we ever won there?
Sorry?
Have we ever won there, Boreham? Can't think of a time.
Ooh. I don't think we have. Oh, we did, didn't we?
4-0 in the FA Cup.
The Cup. Yeah.
FA Trophy, was it? Yep.
Yeah, well, we won 4-0, didn't we? And Asa banged that one in from the edge of the box. But in the league, I can't think we did.
Yeah, it's usually 1-0 or 0-0 or something like that.
The tight games we get beaten, aren't they, normally?
0-0 in that season in the league.
Usually a rush of the nil.
That was the game Whitfield got injured, wasn't it, at Boreham in the league that season?
Yeah,
On that, I read he's been linked with clubs with a move away from Barrow earlier.
Really?
Yeah, he's been doing. Whitfield's been doing really well. Well, he's been doing well. Yeah, I mean,
if he could stay fit, we all know what a player could be. Any of them last season just aren't playing. Little does he's on the bench.
Yeah. Lewis has just got back in the last couple of games.
Oh, nice, good.
Lemon Havens came on as a sub.
McDonald's never played. They've just got that Reading keeper on loan, which is interesting. We've got another player going Cheltenham, and interesting.
That's the life of a keeper, isn't it?
Yeah, and that
Just be sat on the bench all season.
It's also at the risk of repeating myself. It's also he's got a good agent because whilst he's been good for us, he's gone to a League One club and not played. So how does that work out for you? And I'm never sure about kind of particularly keepers, as you say, particularly hard because there's only one of them ever plays. But you'd have thought you'd have been. And you don't know the options, but going to a League One club was always a big ask for him, I thought.
I mean, unless he's told that you'll be number one next season, especially if we get relegated, I don't know. But
do the clubs work like that though?
No, I think it's only on 1 year.
Joiners, you can play the year after when we've been relegated. Yeah.
The trick for us is trying to become one of those progressive teams that people want to stay at and play at for years, isn't it? It's never.
You can only do that once you're in the Football League, and even
we've never been that sort of team.
Yep.
It's struggled to be that sort of team even in the Football League. So
it's a food chain, isn't it? It's a food chain. I would say it's a food chain. You've got clubs taken from that club, and then they'll be eaten by another team, and then the next thing. Well, it's always going to be a food chain up through the division. So it is what it is. Well, we're like.
They feel like you're building something as well. Then they might stick around, but it doesn't feel like we're building.
I would like the idea that, as we said, in the summer, if you're losing a couple of great players, you've got a couple lined up, but it's very difficult to do that. Anyway, thanks for joining us this week. Any last things to
add? Predictions? Yes, we're going to win 3-1 on Saturday.
You've been thinking about that, haven't you?
Yeah, I was ready for that.
1 Torquay.
Ooh, Stephen Sam's predicting a win.
I'll say 2-1.
Yeah, right. Oh, clean sweep of wins. We all know what's coming in, don't we?
Yeah, 3-0 Taunton win. Right. Thank you all for joining us and watching us. Please like, subscribe. And yes, we'll see you next week after the league midweek game. We'll do it then, won't we? So, yes, in a bit. Goodbye.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon.